It's Rashi. This is Mamash Rashi. The Rashi not Ksav Yad. Maybe that's the good excuse that we focus on Rashi Ksav Yad. But the Rashi, regular Rashi, does speak about it. If you want to just look at Sefer for one moment, Rashi in the final one base, he says 3 lines before the end of the narrow lines. The end of the line. It says V'lamin nun Rashi Tefes, V'lim nire. The Logarsinon V'imochru. Ela yiru ad shistavu. V'yaviv v'yayof v'chulei. ובתחילת חילול יומר, when it does חילול, should say, כל מקום שיועי לו, תהיה מחולל אצלנו. כל מקום שיש שלומים, מחולים עלינו. Just do חילול. ויביא מאלו, אלו מאלו שלומים. You just say חילול. ותהידה דלגסינן לי. They don't say אימוכו. That is, arvu b'chor u'maiser, we talk about b'chor u'maiser, the end of the Mishnah, ואימוכו יהיה אפשר, you can't say אימוכו. Then, the meiser, אמר לא יגול, ואין אנימקר. You can't sell meiser. לא יחי ולא שוחט. So, so Rashi clearly speaks about it. It says the word yimochru over here is incorrect. That's what Rashi brings over here. Interesting discussion, interesting opinion.
That's why he puts it in the parentheses.
Yes, the chura.
The gears in the mission is in the parentheses.
And even though B'chor and Meiser doesn't say yimochru. It argues that say Yibachar.
Meiser for sure can't be Yibachar.
Right.
There's no.
So Rashi says the same way you can't say Yibachar, you don't say Yibachar in the beginning. So that's what we spoke about yesterday a little bit. Can you, when a kachim has a blemish, do you have to sell it or can you just redeem it for money? Rashi, at least the Rashi we have in front of us, that Rashi Ksav Yad, the Yeshiva Kuvetza says that the Rashi we have in front of us is not the real Rashi. The real Rashi is Rashi Ksav Yad that we have on the side of the page. But at least the Rashi in front of us does say you could do it. But we don't know. We don't know. I mean, is a Rashi is a different a version of Rashi or is it Talmud of Rashi? We don't know. Because the Shita Kuvetza says we have the Rashi. We always have this Rashi, like many times throughout Shas. But the Shita Kuvetza says you show that's not the Rashi.
Where did it start?
Which daf?
Yeah.
It's 10 blood going this way. The Shita Kuvetza brings it starts in daf. It starts in daf Zevachim. In daf Zevachim, and there you'll have the Kshiru Kubetzes. He says it. I have in the blue Gemara, so you don't have the regular Kshiru Kubetzes. They split it, but basically they bring over here that Apir Shenitpas V'Fnim Ezoy Samisha Daf Yechezkel Amud Aleph Einu Merashi Tzafim Rashi. And goes to Sham. Rabbi Bitzar Ashkenazi Ba Kshiru Kubetzes Hitik Loshim Rashi Ksav Yad. And the Kshiru Kubetzes itself says it's not Rashi, but it's in the regular one not by us. So that's what it is. Now, so that was the Kudah what they say about Yibachar. Let's continue on the Gemara. The Gemara says, we're holding it Ein Alpha with base the bottom. The last 2 lines. The Gemara says, you said that the reason why we have to have our Mishnah, even though we already have a Mishnah of Maseches Tmuro, Ein Alpha with base at the bottom. So even though we already have the Mishnah in Maseches Tmuro, so Maseches Tmuro tells you that we have a mixture of a carbon that mixed into it something which is possible, which is a problem, so you can't use it for kachim. How do I know I can't use it for hedyot? That you don't say batal b'roi, but you can't use it for hedyot? For that you need our Mishnah. That's what the Gemara said. Says the Gemara, the hedyot, 2 lines before the bottom, I have a nice. The hedyot now we already have. We also have a Mishnah tell you that something which is also ba'ado is also behedyot even if it's the roi. Where is the Mishnah? We have a Mishnah in Maseches Avodah Zarah. It says, "Ve'elu osuri v'oisur b'chol shehem." The following things are osur ba'ado, and the oisur even b'chol shehem. What is that? Yain esech, which is the wine, which is the stastech for Avodah Zarah. Chametz kechovi Avodah Zarah itself. So you see over there that it's osur to enjoy it even for a hedyot when it's mixed, even though you don't say batal b'roiv. Even though you could have said batal b'roiv, you don't see batal b'roiv over there. So you see, that's exactly the case of our Mishnah speaking over the Zohar. The was going to mention in a moment, but it spoke about Yisur Hano. And you say, I don't know about Hedyot, I know only about Gavoya. only by Egdish. Here, I have a Mishnah, B'Sechus of Dezar. Says the word Dafay Beisu with Aleph. Tzrichi. We do need it. Tibi also have a minute lehead joint. Aval legavoya ibo loy nifsediru lekul. I'll say the opposite. If I tell you only the Mishnah of Dezar, so then I'll tell you that by head joint, you don't get rid of it. But by gavoya, meaning when I have a carbon, if I go to get rid of the whole thing, what happens? I get rid of a carbon. I'm going to kill a carbon. What's the case over here? In our case, actually, the Gemara explained it, you're going to kill more than one carbon. You have over here, the Gemara said, even if you have 3 boys, you have 10,000 behemoths which are carbonis. 10,000. And one soul, one of the Chatoris Amesus, got mixed up into them, the whole thing has to be killed. Carbonis of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that's what you do. So Mishnah belongs to you individually. Say that. We give up on our money for Kvod Shammai. But they got carbon of a Kodesh Baruch Hu do that? That's what the Gemara says. Aval Gavoya.
Asked that originally when the Gemara first asked why do we need our
Now, there we're saying is that there's two parts over here. There's one part is this Kula Gavoya. Then we're talking about Kula Ledger. Now we're talking about half and half. I want to be Poisel Lehead joint, head you can't joint, but even when you have a carbon mixed in it, you kill everything. So that's a Chiddush over here.
I mean, that's our mission.
Yeah. That's when you have Gavoya, which you have a mixture of head with Gavoya. Of the Gavoya.
And that mission is just pure, and the mission of the Zara is all
Head joint. Because we're talking about the Zara that got mixed up in a regular, you're not talking about Kachim. So the Gemara of the Gavoya, even Lodi Sediru Lekulu. Right? I'm not going to be poised everything. If you have our Mishnah, have immediately, I would say the opposite svar. Kachim, the boys. It's most to bring. To get you have to be a carbon Kodesh Baruch Hu, and one of them is going to be a psul also ba'ano. The whole thing is out. About chuli deloy boys, by chuli I don't care. I don't. That's so disgusted by the fact they have something wrong in here. Hey boys, surah niru livatoli berupo. Maybe they'll be bought to berupo tzricha. So the word tells us the reason why I need the Mishnah for Dezar and I need the Mishnah by us is basically the same scourge as the opposite. I could say, in one hand I would say that kachim is something which I will care more to kill it. So maybe I'll do bitul b'roiv. Maybe I'll say, let's say batul b'roiv and I have kachim. I'm not going to just completely disregard the fact that I have karbanos over here. So why as Rashi says, I don't want to come about with carbon. I don't care. Or the opposite side. By kachim, I need to be pure. I need to be without any problem, any issues over here. But my head joint, I don't have to be so pure. So if I have something, maybe we bought to be right, that's a chiddush. Says the Gemara, that's the question of all questions. Why do you say it's bought to be right? Again, remember, we're talking about here, as the Gemara mentioned, you can have 10,000 karbanis, and you have one animal which is not. Why do you say it's bought to be right?
Questions back on
our Mishnah. Back in our Mishnah, which really applies to all three Mishnayos. By us, the Mishnah tomorrow, and the Mishnah of the Zohar. Why do you say Batal B'Roiv? Why do we say Batal B'Roiv? Now here there is an interesting discussion over here in the Rishonim. Now why do you say Beria? What is a Beria? Beria is
identifiable.
Identifiable. It's a unit that it wasn't cut into pieces. For example, when you have an Ebola, you have an ant. It's considered to be a Beria. It's not Batal. Beria Lui Batal. Dover Chashuv Lui Batal. Why do you say that an animal is a Beria? That's a discussion over here, the Tosis, and in the Shidduch Kobetzis. What is the idea why your Beria is not? Different answers. One of the answers is that a Beria is only something that remains a Beria for his entire life cycle. Lifespan. Or you have an Ebola, it's always an Ebola. But by an animal, once you kill it, it's not an animal anymore. I don't call it an animal. I call it a piece of meat. I change its name once it dies. A carcass when it becomes a dead. It's not the same name, so it's not a burial. That's one answer. One of the, I don't remember if Taisa says it or the Shidduch Kobetzis says it. Taisa that's Shidduch Kobetzis. Taisa is a little differently because it has to be something which is pirish or something bigger, and something which is part of something else. It's part of like an ant can be part of many ants, but if it's something which stands on its own, maybe not. But this is just here already. The Rishonim say maybe it's burial, davar chashuv and batel, and the Rishonim say this is not a burial.
The Yeshiva's answer that it had to be the Isra had to be from the beginning to the. It always was.
The name of animal has to be beginning from beginning to end.
Oh, I thought he said that the Isra was there from the beginning to the end. Unless that's a different answer that he gives.
Right. He says
like a get on like gives like get a nasha was there.
that's another answer. He says we're going to hear this answer.
Oh, it doesn't like it.
This is like if you go later down below. I have a different flow than what I have in my Gemara. If you look at in the blue Gemaras, when you get to the wide lines, he says The name of the Chai, you don't have what you died. And let a velo shmo. Give it a velo. Has to be the same name. That's what they say. So comes the question: why don't you say it's both of the right? Maybe we'll say it's davar chashuv, not because burial. As we show you, says davar burial, but maybe it's chashuv. So now the Gemara goes on into a sugya of chashuv, and what the sugya of chashuv is, the shaila is what is considered to be chashuv, not to be bottom, and there's machlokes about it. What? If it's counted, well, what exactly counted is? So let's see. So says the Gemara, Hadi chelabad do'omar. Kol shedar kol libod sheniru. We have a madama that we'll see in a moment that says anything that you count is not bottom. What do you mean anything you count? Anything that you count even sometimes. Sometimes you sell a bimidyan. You sell it by counting. You say this, I'm going to sell you 3 animals.
10 pieces.
I'm selling you 2 animals. What?
10 pieces, whatever.
10, yeah. We're going with a number. We're going to be counting it based on a number. And I'm not saying you a whole pile over here. Fruits, that's an example. You're selling fruits, you're not selling, you're going and selling a whole storage of fruits. You're selling a wheat. I'm not selling you 3 wheats, right? 3 kernels. I'm selling you a whole box. So when something that's counted, even sometimes, even if it's not counted always, sometimes it's counted, so that's chashuv. So that will include also an animal, because the animal is sometimes counted. Sometimes you sell the whole pen. Sometimes you sell the animal on its own. So it's sometimes counted, sometimes not. It's going to be part of the list of things which are davar chashuv and bottom.
So wheat is not a davar chashuv.
No, we just clear that davar chashuv. Pashas, we'll see the Gemara through the list. Pears could be. It depends which pears. Right? Depends on the case. So says the Gemara, anything that you count or ever count is going to be chashuv. Okay? We're talking about only things which are only counted. The only way to define them is by counting. It's very chashuv. You don't sell them unless they're counted. By kilabema, what are you going to say there? Where is the source of this machlekes? If you remember, we saw this in Maseches Beitzo. Somebody has bundles of tilto, which is a type of fenugreek. It's like a little spice. Yeah? Okay. So if you have tilto shekila aker, what's kila aker? Meaning they have, Rashi says over here, the Rashi that we have says davar chashuv, because even the taste is not only what grows, also the branch, the leaves has the same taste. It says Rashi, Vila is fenugreek. It does say it, brings it. Shekila aker, if it's kilayim, so kilayim is also mado. Says the Gemara that for base to base, yidolku. You have to burn them. Because that's it by Arla. What do you do with Arla? You burn the Arla. It got mixed up with others. The argues is and they got mixed up again. We'll get back to that in one moment. They all have to be burnt. Why you don't say it's batal b'reif? Now the achev v'achev over here is interesting. This is a thesis. Tashitas thesis throughout Shas speaks about a lot. This is not the only place over here. Anytime you have Taurovis, the simple understanding of what achev v'achev means, it means that you add something that got, let's say you have Orla, they got mixed up into, let's say a fruit of Orla, got mixed up into 50 fruits that are not Orla. Makes it awesome. Then out of the 50 fruits, 1 fruit fell into another pile of 50. That fruit that fell out, what is it? It's a suffix. When it falls into another 50, you have here what? A sfeik sfeiko. I have a double suffix. Because each fruit that I'm taking, it may be the fruit that fell for the other pile. It may be not. And even if it fell for the other pile, it doesn't mean it was the wrong one.
If it wasn't the third pile, still a sfeiko.
It's a sfeiko.
So what do you do with a sfeiko?
No, so Taisa says it should be mutter, it's sfeiko. Right away, it should be mutter the second pile.
Why does it say fake? Why isn't it just like a super right or something like that? So,
Wait, in the third case? Oh, yeah, here. Third pile, let's leave it alone. I think it's...
Some things, I don't know if it applies over here. Sometimes you say, like, now the next one that falls in, it's the same ratio. It's not that it's sfeiko. Like, let's say...
So the way Tosis learns...
falls into the second time, it's not the one that falls in.
But that's only liquid. That's only by liquid, not by solid. By liquid, what?
It just keeps it right. I didn't know where that.
Yeah, but by solid, it doesn't have that because it's what? Elamah, because it's a suffix al-machmir. Okay, but it's still a suffix. So when it falls in the next, it should be sfeiko. Could be that the ones that argue at Tosis, what is secher bachim, they hold that is sfeiko. It's not sfeiko because like Mo said, because why is that sfeiko? Because once it falls, it gives the shame isser, and now once it falls again, it doesn't help. I think that's what comes after the Yerushalmi. But the Tosis holds you don't say acher bachim. Or he says the only way to be goyos acher bachim means that the one out of the pile fell into another pile, but the entire pile fell into the next pile. I have one fruit of Arla fell into 50 of not Arla. The entire 50 fell into another 100.
Then you have to know that it's in there.
So it's in there. So it says Tosis, so what's a chiddush? Says Tosis, we have the chiddush is Trey Ruby. It's a double roiv. Trey Ruby is a concept that we have in Masechet Ksubos after Zvav. The idea of Trey Ruby. Then it's a chiddush. We don't say it always. And here maybe Tosis, maybe I would think to say Trey Ruby. That's why maybe this is that's the chiddush that we don't say it. But that's why acher bachim will be used in parentheses because Tosis is not going to it. So then it's kulavi dal kudim rabbi. Everything gets burnt. The chachamim oimrim yalu bechadu b'asayim says chachamim no. It's batal b'roiv. Which roiv? 1 out of 200. We have different levels of roiv. B'doraisa, roiv is 1 by 2. When something falls into even less than 2, one falls in something which is more than it, it's batal b'roiv. We chachamim we're going to say regular yisurim that has to be batal b'shishim. It has to be canceled by 60. That's let's say batal v'chalav or any other tarovis of treifus is echad b'shishim. By truma, you have a deal of echad and 100. The machlek is if it's 1 into 100 or it's 1 into 101. Is it 100 keneged? Sorry, is it together 101 or together 100? Is it 100 keneged the 1 or 99 keneged the 1? That's the machlek is. And then by orloi kilayim, it's 1 out of 200. So we're going to examine the Rabbanan. So mainly here it says okay, if it's not bottle less than 200, but once you get to 200, it's bottle. That's it. So Chachamim say you see bottle right. So why is Rabbi disagree? What?
There is definitely 1 to 200, not 1 to 199.
Yeah, there is 1 to 200. Yeah, that's what I understand. Says the Gemara. Now what? Shayar Rabbi Oimer kol shadar kol limod is b'kadosh. Anything that you count, even sometimes, is not bottom roiv. And this, what we're talking about right here, the filigree, is something which is something that you count. So therefore, it's not bottom roiv. The Chachamim is saying there's only a specific list. It's etchadar, very, very specific. The ones that you count, you number it. Yeshiva says it's 7, not 6, it's 7. Eluhem, Egozei Perich. So these are a type of nuts. They come, or walnuts that come from, they're called Egozei Perich. It's a place, Rashi here says it's a place. V'mimoidei Badan, and pomegranates that come from that place. V'chaviyos stuvois, it's sealed barrels. V'chilfei tardin, which is a type of vegetable. V'kilchei kruv, which is it's a cabbage. V'dlas yivonis, and a Greek gourd, or pumpkin. That's the 6 that are very chashuv. Also kikar shabal breads of balabais is also davar chashuv, which means when a woman bakes at home in bread, it's davar chashuv. It becomes important for her. Tais goes on over here to say because balabais usually was bigger than the ones they did in the bakery. So it's also it's the size. It gives the cheshivas also because of the size. The thing is that whatever. Now this idea that we talk about is area, and of course also we're talking about here orla and kilayim. So orla and kilayim depends what it is. Fruits can be orla. Orla is whatever grew on the tree the first 3 years. That's only fruits. And kilayim, kilei means vegetables. Vegetables are being planted into a vineyard, they may become kilayim. But they had a vegetable. We say adobo. I don't know. Legabe orla, I'm not sure. Kilayim. But it says so. Here we have rimoidim or fruits, but kruv is vegetable. So whatever belongs to fruit will be for orla purposes. Whatever belongs for kilayim for vegetable will be for kilayim purposes. Now, when so Rabbanan say, I said something wrong before. Rabbanan not the one that say et shadar klibonis. Rabbanan say it's a specific list. There's only 6 things according to Rabbi Akiva. There's 7 things that are not batal b'roif. That's it. That's the entire list. They're very, very chashuv. They're very important. They're not batal, not anything else. But Rabbi says no. Not only the 6 or 7, but things that you count. Which things do you count? Here comes the machlekes. Meaning only things that you only sell, things that the only way that you sell them is by minyan. Ace, and they are very specific. Any one, meaning even if you don't sell always by a minyan, only sometimes you sell by a minyan, it's also going to be davar chashuv. So Rameir says, "I stop both the b'roiv." Because it's what? It's davar chashuv. What makes it davar chashuv? The fact that it's es shadar kolish klibonis, because it's always counted, a very specific list, or kol shadar klibonis, anything that's sometimes counted is not batal. That's the machlekes. So who the machlekes according to Rabbi? According to Rabbanan, there's a specific list that's not batal. But according to Rabbi, it's a machlekes. I understand Rabbi. Is it things they only done by counting, or it's anything that ever is sometimes sold as being counted? So going back to the question, so I understand why it's not batal b'roiv, because sometimes you sell it with a count. What are you going to say according to Rabbi Yochanan? According to Rabbi Yochanan, there's only a specific list that only is sold by counting only. That's not including the animals. It's not including the cases of Meseches T'mura or Meseches Avodah Zarah. Says the Gemara, another Gemara is going to go to another answer, which we'll leave tomorrow. Just see the first sentence. This tano is tano de litra ktsioisu. It's the tano of the price of litra ktsiois. Ktsiois is the mushed together figs. The Omar that he said, if I give out aleph, kol dova sheyesh b'minyan, anything that you have a count, I feel with the rabbanon le'batil l'koshke b'deraiso. Anything you count, even sometimes, is never batil. Not only be sur deraiso, but even be sur derabbanon, and that will be the madam of our Mishnah. So our Mishnah that says that animals are not batil, why not? Because it's chashuv. What's chashuv? That's a chashuv. The answer, just to summarize what we learned today, is the different shittas. What is chashuv and not to be batil? Except the barrier concept. What is chashuv not to be batil? Well, Rabbanan hold it's only 6 things. Akiva says 7. Comes Rabbi it says according to Rabbi Yochanan, anything that you sell only b'minyan. According to Shlakish, it says that's anything that you sell even sometimes b'minyan. And now we have another shita that says, well, maybe it's a similar shita you can discuss. If it's a similar shita to Shlakish that says that kol davar sheyesh b'minyan, anything that you count is something which is not.
The Gemara just ended up saying what's Rabbi Yochanan says extra. So we say that the tan is the tan of literal ktsiois.
Right.
But we need to answer according. Don't we need to answer according to Rabbi Yochanan?
No, because according to Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi argues with the Rishon. Rabbi Yochanan is talking according to Rabbi.
We say the problem is because Rabbi Yochanan says we can't learn the mission like Rabbi.
So who's the Tano? So I have to find another Tano. That's it.